messaging of where Cisco is going is changing, the whole Internet of Everything, really opening up the network is going to really change a lot of things for our company on where we're going. Have that aspiration of being the #1 IT and communication company. So you kind of saw John's messaging and then hear my messaging on how do we need to look at partnering overall at Cisco, the whole ecosystem message. We've got a tremendous array of partners that are doing really fantastic things. But as we look at expanding out this ecosystem to capture the Internet of Everything, where we really need developers, we need more partners that are focused on services, the ISVs that come into play. You can see that adding to the network, the partner system, ecosystem. And then what we're really trying to deliver a message of how do we get all the partners to start working together with each other, and that's the power of that ecosystem effect that I talked about. But these transitions in cloud, the transition in consumption models, besides cloud utilities, managed services, it's coming fast. And we want to take our partners on that journey with us, and that's the message that we would deliver. Edison, anything you want to comment on?
No, I think what we try to do today is kind of paint a little bit of that picture and then complement it with the evolution of the partner. So I focused more in my presentation on how the partners' business models need to continue to evolve, to continue to go down the journey. So I think that was well said. Maybe we should just open it up and see what's on your mind. And what did you hear? Not Bob. Oh.
So, you guys did a great job this morning, by the way. I'll compliment you before I kind of throw out the question. So can you walk us through your vision for how this services strategy is going to work out? You keep talking as if it's not going to conflict with the partners, but inevitably there might be something there. But can you walk us through some of the strategy and particularly the change that's taking place? I mean, it's kind of a change in your vision and philosophy and services.
Maybe why do you say it's a change in the vision?
You kind of steered away from that, I think, in the past, right? Kind of turning that completely over to the channels.
Yeah, start, and then,
I'll start.
and then I also want to encourage everybody going to be here tomorrow on the main stage? Because a lot of that, and I don't want to steal all of Edzard's thunder, he's going to be actually speaking to a lot of that, but why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, just to start off on services and looking at the services evolution. When we talk about smart net services that a lot of our partners have built their business model around, right? Where is the market going with that type of services? We see with analytics and with software that model is moving to a software model, right? This is the whole now smart services capability that Edzard and Nick are really talking a lot about, and we're building these programs for our partners to take advantage of, where we're going to be able to have the analytics in the network, really open up a lot of information, and then build services on top of that. So it's going to move from being a body-based service delivery, where I'm going out and doing break-fix service, to more of being able to do proactive support based on the analytics we're going to get out of the network. And it's going to be more around software. So how do we take, first our partners on that transition with us there, and then with that, as they see that capability and the information they can pull out of the network, then how do they start creating their own professional services, which is where we really want them to go. It will differentiate them and what they can provide based on the information they're getting out of the network to the end user customer. And that's what you'll kind of hear Edzard talk about, is our program together is to have a channel program, as we did in Cent, as we came up with advanced technologies and set out our partners to build practices around those advanced technologies. We want them now to think about how services is changing and start building professional services practices around opportunities to drive their services business with us. So, wait. Anyone in? Yes. Everybody at the same time. You first.
Thank you. My name is Rajneesh. I'm from India, and I represent the Q channels. We are India's largest, most channel publication. I have a couple of areas and to ask for some clarifications. And this is you mentioned about your advice to a channel partner with the 3 areas where I need to focus on, which are primarily on hybrid IT, then professional services, and transitioning the sales team. Now, realistically, how many of the existing ecosystem of partners you feel would sort of meet up to the standards? And going a little beyond further, you mentioned one point was, first you have to look at the cash flow today and then profitability. So basically, how do you align that challenge? Okay, I'll do well tomorrow, well and good, but if I don't survive today, the tomorrow might never come. So how do you sort of align that challenge and see these sort of partners evolving? My second question is more specific in terms of the lead gen programs, especially since it's now $1 billion lead gen, qualified lead gen through marketing. Now, your channel program runs across multiple geographies where the maturity level and I'll say the dynamics are completely different or significantly different. Now, keeping in mind, once the qualified leads are passed on to the partners for closure, and in some of the geographies, specifically talking about Asia Pacific, where there is cutthroat competition. So what sort of fail-proof mechanism Cisco can evolve? Because it might end up in trying to do good. The relationship with the partners itself might get challenged because of competition, the way the qualified lead gens are passed through, there might be problems there. So what sort of mechanism you have in place to ensure that doesn't happen?
So you want to take the first one, and you take the second one? Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the evolution of the partner. And unfortunately, in 30 minutes on a presentation, you can only go so deep before you run out of time. But the first thing we need to do is understand that there are going to be multiple business models that partners are going to take on. So if a partner, for example, is a collaboration partner and selling on-prem, it's important that they move to hybrid and offer on-prem as well as cloud. That doesn't mean that they have to stand up their own cloud. That means they have to resell some cloud. And we are working with a number of providers to do white label and so on. So, in some cases, the idea of moving into this new world is not an incrementally very difficult thing if they use a model that is more around reselling somebody else's service. What they have to be careful of, and this is one of the things that we recommend to partners, is when you're selling cloud, you want to try to sell it incrementally to those that have a certain profile, customer that has a certain need, versus cannibalizing. So you want to keep moving forward with what you're doing and incrementally using the new stuff to sell to new places. That way, it actually has less of an impact on your short-term profitability and or on your short-term cash flow issues. So it is a well-timed, I use that term, it's a well-timed execution that partners need to think through. And you don't want to move too fast on one way. I see a lot of partners sometimes get so excited that they move down, and then, as we know, especially a lot of the smaller partners, they're very cash flow constrained anyway, right? They're living month to month, quarter to quarter. So those type of individuals need to be more, I would say, careful, thoughtful in the choice that they're making in that perspective. So I think what we're trying to do with the playbook, as well as conversations with the partners, is help evolve them with what makes sense to their model, not try to make everybody look the same.
I'll take the second question. So the second question around, how do we follow those leads, and you're talking about EPJC. So it is a worldwide program. So within our whole partner-led program, I was talking about that mid-market. We have partners that have signed up to participate in a Partner Plus program. This is to go after that mid-market with us. And there's a number of different pieces of that Partner Plus program. One is what we're going to do in terms of marketing and sharing leads and prospects. There's another opportunity for them to use our technical services so that they can promote technical services and we can help them with quotes and configurations. There's financial incentives, and then there's a sales collaboration platform that we're delivering to them. And that basically, if you think of it like a Salesforce.com connection to their sales organization, so that our teams and their teams are connected. As we pass these leads to them, these prospects, we can follow with them the funnel that we've passed to that partner and that sales rep and see where that lead is in the stages. If we think about a 5-process close loop process, right? And we can see it all along the way. We call it a 360 process. From when we pass in the lead to whether it's out there, it's qualified, it's closed, and it's booked. And that's what we're rolling out. So we're rolling out that sales collaboration platform, and we're also rolling out training for the sales reps on how to use that.
Let me just add one comment, Paolo, will come to you. I do anticipate, this is probably something that many of you will probably take note, is that, I anticipate that there's going to be an accelerated acquisition or consolidation of the channel. And I think that unlike years in the past, it was mainly being driven around the idea of scaling and getting more territory and getting bigger. Now I think it's being driven by talent, needing professional services. We're seeing a lot of partners buying up professional services kind of capabilities, as well as filling out their profile, moving towards this hybrid IT kind of model. So it's interesting to watch, that the acceleration, now that there's some money in the sidelines, we're starting to see a lot of activity there. And I think it's being driven by those two dynamics, just a thought. I'm sorry about that.
Well, Edison, hybrid IT model, you had your speech this morning, you described what the successful solution provider of the future may look like. Can you take that one step further and sort of describe what the successful solution provider who is focused on or taking advantage of this everything, Internet of Everything opportunity, what that may look like?
Yeah. So I think in my mind, when I think about the Internet of Everything, I think John's example was fantastic because he took an industry issue. So I think that what you're going to see is hybrid IT partners of the future that's in the world of Internet of Everything. They're going to get there not because they're focusing on a technology that's horizontal that goes everywhere, as much as they're going to be choosing industries, and business issues to play in. And I think that is going to be, and they're going to be looking at the entire, food chain, if you will, of that opportunity. As when you heard John talk about the cola, scenario when it gets to the store, but it also started way back when it was actually being, grown, in the corn. So I think that part of what I think partners will do is, that's why we're pushing solutions, by the way. It's less about, right now when partners think solutions, they're still thinking technology solutions. And what we're trying to do is get them into industry vertical solutions. And I think that's what we're going to probably be hearing much more about in the years to come. And I think that the Internet of Everything is going to promote that.
We also will be new partner types, right? So like for the Internet of Everything, think about like Schneider Electric now is, they're a big energy company, and they realize that they have to change their entire business model. They need to drive their systems and their new capabilities over IP, and they're becoming a big partner to deliver different type of services, kind of the Internet of Everything services for energy. We're going to see that in manufacturing, we're going to see that in retail, and in healthcare, and so we'll have different partners that will also enter the ecosystem that you wouldn't even think they would be a channel partner, and they'll be part of our ecosystem. I'm sorry, we've been waiting a long time. Why don't you go first? 'Cause you've been waiting.
Okay.
I heard Mr. Chambers this morning sort of take the partners to task, saying he said we're jointly disappointing our customers, not delighting them, is the expression that he used. Do you think that's true? How did you get to that point, and what are you doing with it?
Well, when John's very critical, right? So John really watches what's going on in the industry. He looks at research board. And the research board, when they're putting up who are their top vendors that they like doing business with, Cisco's been number one for the last couple of years. But he looks at the grades, and the grades are 1 to 5, and we're the top one, and I think our top grade is a 3.8. And to him, that's it. He's feeling that's disappointing. If we're really delighting our customers, then our grade should be, in the mid-4s, even though we're better than everybody else that they're measuring against. So that's kind of what he's saying, is what he wants to be seen when he was saying we want to be the #1 IT company, is in the minds of our customers, and everybody that typically is connected to the research board, they're the enterprise customers, the bigger customers. He wants them to feel that we are in a position that are solving their problems better than anybody else in the market. Not that we're the biggest in revenue, we're going to surpass IBM in revenue. It's that the partners are giving us the 4.8s, the 4.9s, that they're delighted by what we're providing them, and they're coming to us to ask us how we can help them deliver business outcomes.
So it's a particular survey that he's referencing, because our normal surveys that we do for our partners, or to our end user customers, it's in the 4.6, 4.7 range. So we're much higher on an individual conversation with the partner. That research board that compares other vendors to, is different. So, and John is always striving for, being not only the best, but what we can do to be world class.
I'm Kelly Henderson, Channel Partners. You mentioned, Bruce, at the beginning of the meeting about Internet of Everything and that your program is going to have to become a little bit more inclusive with developers and ISPs or some of the things you mentioned. So are there specific things that you already rolled out or are planning along those lines?
Yeah, what we're doing is looking to expand our ISP program. We have, all the big ISPs right now are on our platform. But we're looking to expand that, specifically the top vertical ISPs. We talk about needing to be able to have in our portfolio vertical solutions that we can position with line of business managers. So in each of the geo regions, they're identifying their top partners that they want to make sure are optimized for our platform. That we have SaaS solutions that are optimized for our platform and in our portfolio. That's one area. The other area is to execute the Internet of Everything, we need to have a really robust developer network. And we have a Cisco developer network that we see can grow. It's called CDN, Cisco Developer Network. It can grow, it can get better, we can invest more. And that's what we're looking to take that and make it really world-class. So that we have all the capabilities, all the offerings, all the tools that these developers who we might not even know are ready to develop, once they see it, they can start developing applications as we're opening up the network and create new applications that, again, in new companies that we don't even know will exist. That's what we're going to do.
Bruce, you may want to just maybe add to that as far as what is the Cisco One? The idea of opening up the network, what do we mean by that? Because I think that the world of developers is going to be much more relevant tomorrow as we really open up these, when you say open up the network. So maybe just give everybody just a little context of what that means and what the significance of that might be.
Yeah, so Cisco One, or you might hear it 1PK, is where we're going to open up 700, well, I think it's 750, is that the right number? Somewhere between 720, 750 APIs in the network. And you hear John talking about that connection. Once we do that, and you can start developing right into the network service layer, all the way down to the ASICs. Our ASICs are programmable ASICs, which is a differentiator for Cisco. When you have developers that are able to develop and pull that data out, connect it to applications, to make faster decisions, create new type of outcomes for customers, that's what we're going to do.
It makes the network much more of a platform to connect to the application than ever before. And that makes the developers much more relevant going forward. So,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I'm sorry, you've been waiting a long time.
Well, thank you. I actually have a bunch of questions because I keep writing them down as we go. But, let me just drill down to the first one I have there.
And Michael, where are you from?
I'm from Insight as a Service, Canada. You talked about compensating direct reps on sales of resale, partner resale of applications created in your ecosystem, which I think is a really impressive kind of construct to move this all forward. I'm just wondering,